Oh my god, darkness.
Junpei didn't know what to make of what he saw.
Whoa.
Hospital beds?
Someone's gonna die here.
Oh shit.
That
3,
is not
7,
going to
8.
be me.
He simply stood, unable to speak. Seven's eyes opened wide and his mouth gaped. After a few long moments, Seven at last managed to speak.
Hey! What is this place?
A massive room stretched out in front of them, more a cavern than a room. Its vastness was oppressive, and it bore down on Seven and Junpei.
Panda said, knife holes the darkest 999 bits. What the heck,
But what is the digital root of those 3 numbers?
That guy.
Their digital root is 5. That's how they went through the first door. Right. It was not empty, however. The entire room was filled with lines upon lines of beds.
Gee, I didn't know that.
They were simple things, little more than a pipe and thin mattresses.
Is this a hospital?
He had at last been able to put a name to the harsh scent that pervaded the room. The room was full of the clean smell of antiseptic solution. In the center of the room were shelves stacked with medicine and a number of medical devices, the function of which Junpei did not know.
Panda said, thanks, it's not a hospital, it's Dark's future home.
Why would you know those beds for?
More importantly, however, on the back wall,
mortuary.
on the back
Why
wall
he
of the
needs
room
all
were
those
4
beds?
doors.
Because he'll be in pieces.
3 of them were emblazoned with large single-digit numbers, made with thick red paint. The door on the left was labeled 3.
Sounds like we should go there.
The second door from the left had no number, but the third had been given a 7. The door on the
Sounds like
right
fun
bore an
place to
8.
go.
There could
Let's
be no
not go
doubt.
there.
They were numbered doors.
How about let's go there?
It did strike Junpei as strange, however, that the door between 3 and 7 should be blank. Yeah, we made an agreement we'd go through door 3 here, so
Yes.
we'll get there
Yes,
eventually.
3.
What, he wondered, could it mean?
Let's take a look at those doors.
Yeah, good idea. Let's go to number 3.
The 3 of them threaded their way through the beds toward the back of the room. Upon reaching them, they proceeded to investigate each door in turn, but to no
There's
avail.
Some kind of violence going on over there. Ink just stabbed bolt. I don't know why, but she just did.
That's not nice, Inky.
Stabbed in what way?
Yep, look, just like I thought.
Oh god damn it, I'm dying.
Naturally. After all, there are rules to the no-narrow game, and to allow these doors to open easily would violate those rules. Unless we can authenticate ourselves with the red, the numbered doors will.
Whoa, whoa, check this out.
Suddenly, Seven spoke up, interrupting Snake.
Look at the red. There's nothing on it.
Huh?
Eh?
Don't you remember the red back at the main staircase? If there wasn't anyone in it, it said vacant. On the little screen, remember?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, you're right.
Weren't you supposed to have amnesia?
But this one...
7, I didn't know you remember these stuff. There's nothing.
Holy shit. Did you guys just stumble upon Baden's, like, secret plans that they didn't, like, activate yet?
Shut
Well,
the goddamn...
shoot.
Stop making boob jokes in the
I
chat.
think it's broken.
What? What does that do with boob jokes?
No, it's in the chat.
What the
Only
fuck?
one way to find out.
This chat is for outside conversations. This is
Yeah.
a secret.
It's a good
We don't
thing.
wanna
no one
know
can
too
see
much.
the iPad.
Okay, Junpei and the others put their hands on the panel, but nothing happened. The red refused to change. They tried pulling the lever, and still nothing. As they soon discovered, it wasn't only the red on door 8 that seemed to be malfunctioning. The red on door 7 and the red on door 3, none of them worked. What, they wondered, did it mean?
They've gotta be broken. Man, that bastard. I didn't think Bane was the kind of guy who'd screw around with something like this.
Whoa, whoa. Zero's been prepared for everything so far, and you're saying he's gonna make a mistake now?
Well, that's the only thing I can think of. This thing ain't working at all.
While Junpei and Seven talked, Snake busied himself with examining the red. After a time, he lowered his hands and spoke.
It seems as if some of the internal hardware has been removed.
I would know.
Internal hardware?
That is what I said, isn't it? Take a look at the underside of this red, if you please.
Junpei obliged and bent over to look at the underside of the device. A long, thin slit ran along the bottom of it. As he looked harder, he realized it was more of a slot than a slit, and was clearly meant to accommodate some manner of electrical device. The other two reds were the same. Something had clearly been removed from all three of them.
I get it. So the reds aren't working because somebody pulled out their guts. Wait, what? That's a way of saying it.
Just as I'm going to pull out your guts, Junpei.
Can you at least eat them?
Yes.
But why? And who? I mean, it doesn't really make sense.
I have no idea. Why on earth would I know something like that?
Just then, they heard the sound of a door opening. The three of them turned and saw.
Dun dun dun.
Akane. Oh no, Junpei thought. It's...
June?
Oh,
Oh no.
She stopped short, surprised to see them, and was very nearly bowled over by the rest of her companions who were coming through the door behind her. Ace, Santa, Clover, and Lotus all poured out of the door, as each of them as surprised as the last to see Junpei, Snake, and Seven. Junpei and Seven were, for the moment, at a loss for words.
What are you guys doing? Why are you?
After a moment of silence and surprise, everyone suddenly began to talk, desperate to exchange information. They talked about the rooms they'd been through and how they ended up in the same place. Of course, none of it was very useful information, but that hardly mattered. They were happy to simply see one another again. Although the level of cheer varied greatly from person to person, each one of them was wearing some manner of smile, almost as though they had already forgotten about the death of the ninth man.
He was a jerk
He was
anyway.
minor character.
No, thought Junpei, perhaps that wasn't it. Perhaps thoughts of his death were what drove them to smile at one another. Not in a morbid or hateful way, no. The ninth man had died, but they were still alive, and that was something to be happy about. A sort of simple, uncomplicated joy, Junpei thought. The joy of being alive. Still alive. He felt sorry for the ninth man, but more than...
Why would you feel sorry for the bastard?
He's a jerk. What the fuck?
But more than anything, Junpei was happy to be alive.
So are we gonna get any of this chatter?
This is bad, though. If the red isn't working, we can't keep going.
What about that big hallway? Maybe there's somewhere in there we might be able to go. No, there's nothing there, brother. 5 of us had a quick look. There were a great many rooms, although none of them appeared to have held patients for quite some time. Patients? You mean all those doors are for hospital rooms? Yes, brother. Apparently, they have a number of individual rooms in addition to the large central rooms.
There was a door down that end of the hallway too, but it was locked.
It had one of those solar system mark things on it.
It was the Jupiter symbol.
Jupiter. I wonder what it means.
Confusion seemed to be the consensus.
That reminds me. What's the deal with this big room anyway? What is this thing? What's this? Some kind of huge passenger ship?
No one, not even Snake, appeared ready to offer an answer until Seven unexpectedly spoke up.
I bet it's a hospital ship. In fact, it's probably the Gigantic? Gigantic? The Gigantic.
Junpei looked at Seven, shocked both by his knowledge and the apparent identity of their prison. He was not the only one.
What's the gigantic?
Seven nodded to Lotus and began to speak.
The Gigantic?
He explained that she had been a sister ship to the Titanic, built in the early 20th century. The Titanic had 2 sister ships who were identical to one another in nearly every aspect. The Gigantic was said to be one of them. She was initially intended to be a passenger liner, like the Titanic, but soon after the ship was launched, the First World War began, and she was pressed into duty by the British Navy as a hospital ship. Sometime later, the Gigantic was damaged by a German mine in the Aegean Sea.
Hey.
She managed to run aground after the incident, and consequently was not sunk. What then happened to the Gigantic after her fateful encounter in the Aegean Sea? One theory ran that a man named Lord Gordain purchased her. Lord Gordain, it seemed, had been one of the few survivors of the Titanic tragedy, and that trauma had turned him into an obsessive collector of all things related to the Titanic.
Ah, I see now.
As his obsession deepened, he began to desire the Titanic itself. That, of course, was impossible. The Titanic lay at the bottom of the Atlantic Ocean. The Gigantic, however, had not suffered such a dire fate, and as she was identical to her sister ship, she caught Lord Gordain's eye.
So you're saying this Lord Gordain bought this ship? He's Bane.
Oh gosh.
Yeah. At least I think I am.
That's impossible. No way, we're in some boat that's almost 100 years old.
Pipe down, just pay attention. What? That's it? Well, have you got any proof?
Proof?
Proof that this ship is really the Gigantic, you know?
Well, this ship's got stuff that's like the Titanic, a hospital ship. So I just figured.
Oh, for goodness. Don't tell me that's your only reason.
No, I've got more.
Like?
Well, I mean...
Seven looked around desperately, doing anything to avoid meeting Lotus's piercing stare. He scratched his head for a moment, then gave up. Finally, he opened his mouth.
I don't know. I just wasted your time.
Lotus sighed and shook her head.
I guess your memory isn't back yet, is it?
Nope. Sorry.
Then, almost as if to save Seven from further embarrassment, a bell began to ring from far away. It sounded as though it was the clock at the main stairway. Junpei counted each chime carefully. 10, 11, 12. It's midnight.
Then we've still got 6 hours left, right?
Let's just get moving. We gotta find that hardware. The Reds are missing.
That's all well and good, but where are we going to look?
Well, we've already searched the big patient room.
They had been examining the room as they talked.
But we haven't found anything.
Right.
Well, there's only one thing left to do. Kill you all one by one. And eat the flesh that remains.
Oh gosh.
Oh, well, not just one.
Well then.
Here, let me just, voluptuously jiggle my boobs a little bit. Wait a minute. Are you telling me we have to search all of these rooms?
Well, you already checked some of them out before you came here, right? We each checked a single room, so... Rooms in total. 5 rooms in total, brother. Alright then. That's 5 rooms we don't have to search. If we split up, it won't be that bad. Each of us can do 6 rooms apiece, or have the other 48 rooms cleared in no time.
There are 48 other rooms? Really? Really, man?
Lotus did not seem excited by the prospect. Seven fidgeted nervously before responding.
Maybe.
How does he know all of this?
After some discussion, the 8 of them decided which rooms to begin with, and in what order they would go. Junpei was chosen to search the rooms on the starboard side, moving from fore to aft. They also determined when they would return to report their findings, the next time the clock sounded the time. When it did, they would meet back in the large central room full of beds. If, during their search, any one of them were to locate the missing components, they were to yell for the others. If this strategy failed, they'd return to discuss their options later. The details decided, they left to begin searching. Out in the hallway they went, each to the rooms they'd been assigned. However, from far away, Junpei heard the bell ring. It did so only once. It was 1 a.m.
Okay, so we don't actually check the rooms, thank God.
Yeah, he jogged through the entrance of the large hospital room to find 6 of the others already there. Ace, Santa, Clover, June, Seven, and Lotus. They had gathered in front of door number 8. Or perhaps to be accurate, they had gathered in front of the red next to door number 8.
Just say that first.
Had one of them found the missing piece?
What happened, guys?
It was June who answered him. Jumpy, look! She was pointing at the red. He pushed through the others until he stood in front of it. Immediately he knew what she meant. The display on the front of the red read vacant. Junpei sighed.
Come on, guys. Who was it? I thought I was supposed to yell if we found it.
Well, Junpei wondered why she was hesitating. The others looked as confused as June, but kept their mouths shut.
What the hell? What is up with you guys?
They all knew something he didn't, and Junpei wasn't about to leave things that way. Finally, Lotus frowned and spoke.
Well, that's the thing. We don't know.
You don't know?
When I got back, it was already like this. There was no one else here. That means I was the first one back, but the missing parts were already back in the red.
Junpei looked at the bottom of the red again, just to make sure. The slot that had been open on the bottom was now covered with metal. Clearly, whatever had been missing had been returned.
What about the other 2? We need to go through door number 3. Oh, thank God.
They're the same.
Junpei quickly examined the other 2 boxes. Satisfied that they were also repaired, but still very confused, he returned to the others.
Alright. I just want to be sure here. Nobody has any idea what the hell happened here, right?
Ace and June nodded silently. Seven raised his hands as if to say, not me, and Santa just shrugged. Only Clover lowered her head and did nothing.
Huh? Wait a minute.
That was when he noticed.
You, wasn't it? Where's Snake?
Junpei swept his eyes across the room a second time, but Snake was nowhere to be seen.
Does that mean he found them?
YOLO.
I have no idea, brother. There's nothing to suggest it. But nothing to suggest he didn't either.
I don't suppose we'll know until we can ask him in person.
He did.
Oh, whatever he did or didn't do, he's pretty damn late. What the hell is he up to? He's probably gonna murder us, isn't he?
Maybe he's lost?
He's gonna murder us.
Yeah, well, that seems likely.
He's crawling through the ceiling panels.
You can't see. I don't know how he gets around in the first place.
to go is
Probably
Junpei.
through the ceiling panels.
Clover raised her head.
No? No, that's impossible!
Suddenly she was shouting.
Yeah, my brother's blind, but he's got a really great hearing. He can get around as well as anyone who can see. So he couldn't get lost. That's impossible.
Clover had started to shake, and the knuckles of her hands had gone white. She spun around, but before she did, Junpei noticed tears welling up in her eyes.
Don't worry, little thing. He's just playing hide and seek. Hide and seek with death and blood.
You will be the first to die, Clover.
I'm gonna go look for him.
The words were barely out of his mouth when she began to run.
Hey! Hold on, Clover. Wait! God damn it!
Junpei cried out to her, but he was too slow. She kept going, and before anyone else could react, she was gone.
Damn it! What should we do now?
Well, the red is working now.
No, we're not leaving 2 people behind. We should go look for them.
Aw, man, this ain't good.
Oh, yes, what an excellent idea. We just wasted a bunch of time looking for some piece of electronic junk. Now, let's waste some more by looking for a couple of idiots.
Then remain here, if you feel you must. But there's no time, brother. We've only 5 hours left, brother.
Junpei and the others nodded to one another and took off at a run.